Well, g'day Year 7s and welcome to another video tutorial. Here we are looking at exercise 2E. As you can see here, problems with parallel lines. Now, when you are looking at this one, it's really important that you think back to our previous video and previous work where we looked at a lot of these guys. Complementary angles that are up to 90 degrees, supplementary angles, ones that add up to 180 degrees, and angles in revolution. So they're important ones to know because you've got to know all these to be able to tackle these problems. You've also got to have an understanding of the vertically opposite angles as well. When you have two lines that are crossing, like these ones are down here, and you've also got to have an understanding of your corresponding, your alternate and your co-interior angles and the various aspects of them and what they add up to and whether they're equal. So your corresponding angles are always going to equal, your alternate angles are going to equal, and your co-interior angles always add up to 180. So you've got to know all these guys and recognize these guys and use all these guys to be able to work out other angles that are created through parallel lines and these transverse lines. Okay, so you've really got to have an understanding, and you need to refer back to these and think about these in trying to solve these problems. All right, so here's some key ideas. All right, so some geometrical, I'll try and say that, problems involve more than one step. So what that means is that sometimes you might have to find one, two, or three other angles before you can actually find the answer that you're looking for. Okay, so for example, you look here, and I'll show another example in a minute. Actually, let's go down here. All right, I want to read this information again. Basically, it's just what I said though. Some geometrical problems require the combination of two or more ideas before a solution can be found. So all that is basically saying is that you need to sometimes find other angles before you can find the specific angle you are after. Okay, so this diagram includes an unknown angle A, which is over here. Okay. Now, you've got to, I'm not going to discuss if this is possible to find A, but can you find A? If you think about this problem and think about some of these other guys, all right, some of these things, can you use these ideas and these concepts here to help you find this angle A? All right, so if you look at it, firstly, if I'm going to look here and I'm going to say, well, firstly, A is part of three angles here, and these three angles make up what type of angle? You want to say it out loud? Yeah, a straight angle, all right? So I've got angle A, this angle here, and if we've got a box in the corner, what does that mean? Yeah, 90 degrees. And we've got this other angle over here, all right? So have we got enough information right now to be able to solve for A? And if you look at that, you say, well, hopefully you'd say, no, we don't, because we've got this 90 degree, we know that's 90 degrees, but we don't know what this one is in here. We don't know what that is, all right? But using the information that we have and the rest of this diagram, are we able to find that angle? So then we can then find angle A. All right. And if you look at it, well, I'm going to extend these lines. We've got our two parallel lines here, got our transversal line, and then we've got this angle of 65 degrees. And guess what? Well, if that angle is 65 degrees, then what does this angle have to be? And if you look back here, what can we use? Well, we can use these corresponding angles concept. Okay, because these guys are corresponding angles. So if that's 65 degrees, then this angle in there also has to be 65 degrees. Now we have enough information to find A, because you know that's 65 degrees in there, that's 90 degrees there, so whatever is left over has got to be our angle A. So if we take our 180 degrees and we minus our 90 and also minus our 65, we will be able to find out what our angle A is. All right, and if we look at that, that would be, what is it, 155, 65, so that'd be actually 25 degrees. I'm thinking off the top of my head, will be the missing angle for A. All right, so we've used that concept of not co-interior, corresponding angles, all right, plus using the concept of a straight angle to be able to find our missing angle in there. Okay, so these ones are actually a little bit more difficult to teach, I suppose, because they're all different and you're going to have to use different concepts and different understandings of complementary and supplementary and straight angles and vertically opposite and corresponding alternate and coterria to be able to solve them. So there's no one easy way or one easy method. These really require a fair bit of problem solving on your behalf. So you've really got to think these through and take your time and try and work them out. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. So we're going to look at example A here first, where we need to find the angle A in these diagrams. So here's angle A over here, and we need to find it. Okay, so straight away, what are we looking for? Okay, well, what are we looking at? Well, I'm looking at here, I'll tell you what I'm looking at, is that A is part of a straight angle here. Alright, so if I can find this angle here, I know a straight angle is going to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so if I can find this angle, alright, I should be able to find A. Alright, so the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just get rid of some of that writing that I've just put in there, is sometimes you get these pictures like this and it doesn't look like the things that you've come across beforehand with the parallel lines and transversal lines. So sometimes it might actually pay for you to draw some lines through, extend the lines, so you can actually see the parallel and the transversal lines. Okay, alright, so I'd almost do it that way sometimes, just to help you out so you can actually picture where these parallel lines are and where the transversal line is. Alright. Other thing you're going to have to look at, sorry, I'm just going to get rid of them, is some of these other angles in here. Alright, so I'm looking here at 170, I'm looking here, that's a 90-degree angle. Alright, so can I find D? Alright, so is that the first thing I can find? Well, of course I can find it, because what type of angle do we have here? It is a 360-degree angle. Alright, so we're able to use that angle and these other angles that we have been given for that to find out angle D. And if we find angle D, we'll be able to find angle A. Why do you think that is? Because again, if I extend these out this way and we find angle D, what does angle A and D have in common? Okay, so if we look back here, again, they are corresponding angles. Okay, so we can use that concept to help find our angle A here. Okay, so let's undo that stuff again. Oops, we can write that 90 degrees in. Alright, so we've got a full rotation here, so it's 360 degrees. Alright, I'm going to have my 360 degrees here. I'm going to subtract 170 away from that to begin with. So that's 0 from 0, 0. 6 take away 7, we can't do that. So borrow my hundreds over here. 16 take 7 is 9. 2 take away 1 is 1. That's 190. Now I'm going to minus the other 90 that is here. So I'm going to minus that from that as well, which leaves me 100 degrees. Okay, so angle D is equal to 100 degrees, which means angle A is going to equal 100 degrees because it is corresponding. Sorry about my writing. Corresponding. The writing is really bad using this this tablet, but anyway. Alright, so it's a corresponding angle, so angle A is going to be 100 degrees. Okay, we will check that. Now I'm just going to get rid of that because I need this room. Okay, no, that can stay there. Alright, so that's how we do that problem. So what I want you to do now is actually pause this video and I want you to have a go at example B on your own. Just have a go, see how you go. Give it, 5 minutes or so, and if you can't solve it in 5 minutes, come back and play the rest of the video so you can walk through this with me. Alright, so pause it now and off you go. Okay, welcome back, and again, hopefully you have paused it, because otherwise it sounds really silly when I say go pause it, and then I pause for a little bit while you're pausing, and then we come back and I'm still talking, but you actually haven't done anything. That makes no sense, but anyway, make sure you do have a go at these things when I ask you to, because it just helps clarify what you're doing. Alright, so again, I'm going to extend some of these lines a little bit. Alright, so there's my parallel lines, here's my transversal line going through it. Okay, so you can picture it that way, it's always a good idea sometimes. We need to find angle A here. Alright, so if I've got my parallel lines here, through here and out there, and this one here, what I'm looking at is this angle and this whole angle here. Okay, because what have I got? These two angles inside the parallel lines. angles inside the parallel lines. Okay, we're looking at co-interior angles here. All right, so these two angles are going to add up to 180 degrees. So these guys here, so this 70 degrees, and the total of both 60 and A will add up to 180. All right, so that's going to help us find out what A is. All right, so how do we do that? What do we do? All right, what did you do when you tried to solve this? Okay, so let's look at what we've got. If we know that these whole angles add up to 180, okay, so we're looking at, what is it, a co-interior? Co-interior. It's a little bit neater. Co-interior angles, and we know that add up to 180. Okay, well we know we've got 70 of that already, so let's subtract 70 away from that, which leaves us with 110. Okay, I'm just going to write this 110 up here now. Oops. And we've got 60 out of that. So, sorry, that 110 is what this has to equal on this side. All right, so our co-interior, again, let's have a look. Our co-interior angles have to add up to 180. Okay, we already have 70 of that, so we've got 110 left. All right, so we've got 60 of that already. So let's take 60 away from 110. So 0 take 0 is 0. 6 take 1, can't do that. Borrow that from there, gives us that. 11 take 6 is 5. So A has to equal 50 degrees. Okay, so A is 50, 60 is 100, A is 50 plus the 60 gives us 110 in total. Okay, so that all equals this, and then 110 plus the 70 over here equals 180. All right, and that gives us our co-interior angles, and that's what this is saying. Co-interior, add A and B, gives us 180. So our A angle here, our B angle here, add them both up, 110 plus the 70 gives us 180. So our A is 50 degrees. And what we're going to do is check, make sure our answers are right. So our solutions here, this is for A equals 100 degrees. That's what we got, gives ourselves a tick here. And angle A here, all right, has to equal 50 degrees. Again, give ourselves a tick. All right, so that's how you do these problems. Again, there's no set method that I can show you to follow. All you need to do is look at the diagram you have, look at the angles you have, and work out which of these other concepts and other angles that problem contains that you can use to then solve the problem. All right, and like I've shown you, you may have to find 1 or 2 or 3 different other angles before you can actually solve for the angle that you're after. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to you. Fingers crossed it does. If not, make sure you do come and see me and talk about it so you can sort it out. But that is all I need to go about. I will leave you, I do have a bit of a joke about a pizza. No, actually, come to think of it, it's a bit cheesy, so I won't tell you. All right, on that note, very bad dad joke, I will catch you in class. See you guys. Thank you.